Hi, and welcome to Venture Church Online. My name is Simon. I'm one of the co-lead pastors here. And this week we gather together in our venture communities. This is an amazing time for us to really connect and grow together in our relationships, to know and to be known together. This week we begin a new series as people of blessing, and we're really going to press into what that's all about. But before we do, I've got some notices to share with you.
Coming up at Venture, we have our monthly prayer meeting happening on Monday night, Monday the 6th of November, where we'll be meeting from 7:45 p.m. at St. Thomas's Church in Beaconsfield. It's always an amazing time, hugely encouraging as we pray together and just really seek the Lord for what He has for us as a church. So Monday, 6th of November, hope to see you there. Also, as we said at church, if you love dancing, then you've got to be at our Kaylee. It's happening at Saturday, the 2nd of December at the Beaconsfield School from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. If you're an American, you might know it as barn dancing. If you're an Australian, as bush dancing. But if you're a Brit, it's a Kaylee. And so be there or be square dancing somewhere else. Okay, next one is we've got lots of Christmas services coming up in December. Two I want to highlight for you. The first is on Sunday, the 17th of December. That's going to be our family carol service at 10:30 in the morning, same normal time. And then on Christmas Eve at 4:30 p.m., we will have our carols by candlelight. I love carols by candlelight, and I know you do too. And so be thinking, who can I be inviting along to those special Christmas services? And also just to say, if you haven't checked out our website recently, do check it out. And also, if you haven't yet followed us on Facebook, we'd love to see you connect with us on Facebook as well. Have a great week. Bye for now.
Well, today we start a new sermon series called People of Blessing. Over the course of this sermon series, we will explore what it means to live as a people of blessing in our homes, in our workplaces, in our neighborhoods, and our communities. We're going to learn from the lives of Abraham, Jeremiah, and ultimately Jesus around what it might look like to be a blessing to those around us. But as we start this series, it's really important for us to remember that whilst we are called to be a people of blessing, we are already a blessed people. That our story starts with blessing. We go back to Genesis chapter 1 and we read from verse 26 together. It says this: "Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God, He created them. Male and female, He created them. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground." Then God said, "I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food." And it was so. God saw all that He had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. Before God gives Adam and Eve their mission to cultivate the world and exercise good stewardship over it, He first blesses them. Now, what does that mean? I think it means that they had God's affirmation, that they were known and loved by Him, that He delighted in them before they did anything. And so from that place of blessedness, they were then called to do good in the world, to cultivate the world, to go forth and multiply, to be fruitful, to exercise stewardship of God's world under His authority, to exercise creativity, imaging something of God's character into the world. So God blesses humanity, and then from a place of being blessed comes their activity. This was God's original intention for us as human beings, to be a people who bless because we are already blessed. And although this was corrupted by the fall when sin entered the world, God has and continues to redeem our story through the work and person of Jesus Christ, who restores us into this blessed place of being known and loved by God. And so it's really important to remember that we don't do good to gain God's blessing. Rather, we do good because through Jesus Christ, we are already blessed. As Glenn Packiam writes, being blessed is not a state, it's a story. It's an origin story. It's the story of how you began and why. It's the story of God, the Creator, calling you into being on purpose and for a purpose. It's the story of God taking delight in you and naming you as good and beautiful. This is our story. In Christ Jesus, we are a blessed people. And as a blessed people, we are called to therefore bring God's blessing to bear into the world. Now, what does that look like? Well, the Old Testament word for blessing is the Hebrew word barak, which simply means to speak the intention of God. It also means to be happy with where you are. So one is a state of being and the other is an activity. Now, in the New Testament, it's the word eulogia, which we get the word eulogy from, which means to speak larger or well of, or to speak the intention or favor of God on someone. So as Dallas Willard writes, blessing is the projection of good into the life of another. To bless someone is to desire God's favor, goodness, and purpose to be the crowning reality of that person's life. Now, there are many ways we can do that, but let me just highlight 2 ways. First, we can bless people with our words. We have the opportunity to speak the words of life and encouragement over people, breaking the power of curses that perhaps have been spoken over others and actually calling out the God colors in others. You know, there are many of us walking around with deep wounds from the words that have been spoken over us in our past. Words like you'll never amount to anything, or you're a failure, or you're fat, or I wish you were more like such and such. And you know, it occurs to me that we can sometimes be quite stingy with our praise or encouragement, when in fact it is one of the easiest and most powerful things we can do for another. To speak over them God's blessing, to help them see who they are and what they were made to be. The second thing we can do is, of course, bless people with our actions. We can alleviate the pain and suffering in the lives of others through generosity and helping them. We can make life just that bit easier for them. We can show them unexpected grace and favor through a thoughtful action or deed. Or we can show them that someone notices them and sees their life. So we can bless people with our words and we can bless them with our actions in order that we might project something of God's goodness into the life of another. Now, there is one caution with this, and that's that at times we might be tempted to fall into the trap of blessing others in order that we ourselves might gain a reward, whether that be acknowledgement or having nice words spoken back. And so we need to check our own hearts, because remember, the goal is not to get a reward from another. The goal is to flow the blessing that we've already received from God into the life of others. It's to allow His life to flow out of us to those around us. So today in your community time, you might like to start your community time with a time of worship and thanksgiving, and use this short sentence as a prayer prompt. God, we bless you because, and actually bless the Lord through thanksgiving and praise as you start your session today. And then following that, to look at a couple of questions together, to explore these 2 questions. Firstly, who is God calling you to bless this month? Maybe prayerfully just think through all the different contexts that you find yourself throughout the week and the different relationships that you find yourself in. And is there someone in particular that the Lord is leading you to either speak a word of blessing over or to do something for them, so that they might understand something of who God is and see His heart for them? So have a think about that. And then the second question to ask is, are there any ways that you as a venture community together might be able to share God's blessing to those around you? And the reason we want you to explore that question is because on Sunday, the 3rd of December, which is your next Community Sunday, we would love for you to undertake a blessing project together. to actually put into action some of the things that we've been learning. So to think about something that you could actually do on that day that will bring God's blessing to bear in the lives of others. Now, just to give you a few ideas to get the juices flowing, here's a few ideas. You could, for example, invite the friends of the kids within your community group and their families to join you on a walk, and pray before you go that you might have God conversations on that walk. You could bake some cookies together, all together, including the kids, and make up a little package and give them to your neighbors with an invitation to our Christmas services, praying as you go that God might meet your neighbors in a special way. You might like to host a Christmas lunch as a community group and invite friends and family to come in and enjoy the community that you experience through that group. You might like to put together some Christmas hampers for people who are particularly in need at this time of year. You might want to have some extended time of prayer for charities and organizations that seek to alleviate suffering in the world or to bless people in the world, and really pray for them. So there's just a few ideas, but I'm sure you'll come up with many more. Even invite the children to brainstorm. In my experience, kids have the best ideas. So we trust that you have a good time and look forward to hearing what God does in and through you.